We welcome you to an update on Greensboro Transit Agency's ADA operational analysis. This video provides a snapshot of the ADA operational analysis and findings based on the following elements: operations, eligibility process, resources, and public involvement. We will conclude with a discussion of the next steps in our process. To begin, we will discuss operations, where we will explore two topics: ridership and cost of service. In this slide, you can see that prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, ridership had been steadily growing. Ridership in 2019 was 10% higher than seen in 2017 and 44% higher than what was seen in 2010. January and February of 2020 were set to continue that trend, but then in March and April of 2020, ridership fell dramatically, and overall ridership in 2020 was 32% lower than levels in 2019. In demand response systems, it's typical to see costs track closely with ridership. For GTA's ADA service, costs have grown faster than ridership. While there was a 44% increase in ridership between 2010 and 2019, there was a 72% increase in cost. By 2019, the cost of the ADA service was approaching the cost of fixed route service. In 2019, ADA service used 42% of the operating budget, but only served 8% of the trips. Costs did decline somewhat in 2020 as service demand went down due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The increase in cost of demand response service is certainly driven by the increase in ridership, but that's not the whole story. On a cost per trip basis, GTA has seen an increase of 21.7%, as seen in the dark blue line on this slide. If costs had increased by a 3% rate of inflation, we would have expected to see a 12.6% increase. The faster than expected growth in cost per trip may be the result of inefficient scheduling practices, growing traffic congestion, or a tight local labor market. Next, we will discuss the eligibility process. The consulting team conducted a full review of the Access GSO eligibility process from public information available on the topic to the application, determination, documentation, and recertification processes. All riders who use Access GSO must be pre-registered following GTA's eligibility determination process. Based on a written application, a medical professional's documentation, and before the pandemic, an in-person functional assessment, individuals are classified as temporarily, conditionally, or permanently eligible to use Access GSO services. Alternately, individuals are classified as ineligible for Access GSO services, but invited to utilize GTA's fixed route service. Also prior to the pandemic, GTA provided travel training services to help individuals become comfortable using fixed route service. Conducting in-person functional assessments and providing travel training services are both considered to be best practices in the paratransit industry and are recommended for reinstitution as soon as safely possible. Recommendations for improvement of the eligibility process include streamlining the application and customer review of written materials, digitizing the process where possible, and looking into a hierarchy of recertification timelines based on type of eligibility. Currently, all riders are required to go through the recertification process at least once every 3 years. We are discussing these preliminary recommendations with GTA and will refine them based on feedback and build them into the final report. In addition, it's recommended to prioritize pedestrian infrastructure building sidewalks, and creating safe spaces to wait for the bus. This will help the transition to fixed route for those individuals that are able to do so. Next, we'll discuss resources. Keolis is contracted with the City of Greensboro and GTA to provide paratransit services in addition to the management, training, and supervision of staff. A comprehensive assessment of the customer service call center, along with the reservations and dispatching processes, was completed as part of this study. The current scheduling software being used by Keolis has been analyzed and recommendations have been made based on data collected. Our team interviewed staff from Keolis and GTA and held regular progress meetings with GTA to assist in the completion of this study. Based on all information collected thus far, there are several proposed opportunities for GTA and Keolis to improve the existing paratransit system. Now we will discuss public involvement. Public engagement to date includes a public involvement plan, a project web page, a virtual public meeting, and 3 virtual focus group meetings. Some of the key findings from the public meeting include a preference for lifetime eligibility, trips are often late for pickup, and costs are too high for low-income riders to afford. During the focus group meetings, the team heard similar findings related to the lifetime eligibility and the need to reduce pickup waiting times. New findings include the need for more flexible scheduling, that most dialysis patients do not use iRide, and that trip orders are not linear. An online survey was posted to the project webpage in July 2021, and responses were collected until October 2021. The survey revealed that 83% of the respondents had never used the fixed route service. The primary reason for this is that respondents said the bus stops were too far from their home or destinations. The second phase will begin in January and end in June with a final report. This will conclude the study. For additional information or to ask questions, please contact George Lenny at GTA or Mariata Echeverry at AECOM. Thank you for your interest in this study.